After all the waiting in the offseason, we're hours away from finally playing some football as the Pittsburgh Steelers will go down to Landover, Maryland and take on the Washington Redskins in the first preseason game of this season. I'm Justin LaBarre alongside Trib Live Radio's host Ken Laird and, of course, your Steeler beat reporter Scott Brown. Guys, let's jump right into it. Not really so much about the final score of the game, but you're looking at evaluating talent, as Mike Tomlin would say. I want to ask you guys, in this game for the Steelers and the Redskins, what in the Steelers' case do you think, Scott, is the best part of the depth chart that they can evaluate? What do the Redskins bring on the field that's really going to lend a helping hand for Tomlin and his coaching staff to say these guys, are doing well, this guy isn't, so forth?
I'm not sure I'm going to go with the position as much as I'm going to go with the rookies.
Okay.
The street free agents, the undrafted free agents, the guys that they didn't have. This is their first look at in a game situation, and oh, by the way, it's their first look at after only a couple weeks of practice, since all of the OTAs and the mini camp practices were wiped out by the lockout. I think they want to. This gives them another evaluation tool, and probably the biggest one is seeing how they perform in games. So I'm basically going to go with all the guys they haven't seen in games before.
Ken, what do you say?
Well, and I think that's true from the sense of first of all, they'll tackle for the first time live in drills, which is huge, and that's one thing that Mike Tomlin mentioned. The problem for the rookies and the young guys, they know a fraction of the playbook. Just talking to Chris Carter, one of the rookie outside pass rushers on this team, he said, I just hope I don't, remember half the plays that are called out there for me. So when I look at it, I think the guys on the outside, the skill positions, the receivers, the corners, the guys that are in one-on-one coverage where you don't really need to know so many schemes. It's natural instinct, raw ability. You'll get a sense to see how they handle themselves when the live bullets are flying, so to speak. So I think those are the guys I look for more than anything.
Ken, on the opposite side of things, is there is there certain players or certain positions that's going to be toughest to evaluate in this game?
I think some of the inside players, the linebackers who need to know schemes, this defense is so complicated. You're finally seeing Ziggy Hood in his third year start to really gain a grasp for it. But Cameron Hayward, how much is he going to be able to flash out there? And will he overrun plays? Will some of the other trenches guys be in the same boat? Will some of the rookie guards, even a Keith Williams, will he be overwhelmed with pulling and all the things they do on the offensive line? So I think those guys you take with a grain of salt Friday.
Scott?
I'm actually looking forward to seeing the wide receivers, and not just the new guys. And I think they have some promising ones. Some of the undrafted free agents, like an Armon Robinson. I want to see what he can do. Looks like he has some return ability. But not just that. I want to see some of these guys because it could be interesting to see how it shakes out at the back end of that Steelers rotation. Lima Sweet, I got to believe he's on the outside looking in. Hasn't helped his cause that he's been hurt up here. Don't know if he's going to play. Been told that the sprained shoulder is legit, that he's not dogging it, but still, he needs to get on the field and he needs to make plays in games, not in practice. So I want to see, if you don't see him, I want to see a guy like Tyler Grissom. I just want to see some of these guys that are battling for maybe that last wide receiver spot.
Now, certainly for the Washington Redskins, they have a lot of question marks. There's probably those down in Washington have a lot of players they're going to watch. Everything from the quarterback battle between Beck, Grossman, Clemens to your open running back shuffle. So a few bright spots on the defense, but question marks there. But for the Steelers, who's there to watch? You mentioned Robinson. Who else is there to really watch that could make some good movement for themselves here in the preseason?
I got to back you up real quick. Did you say John Beck is the starting quarterback for the Redskins?
Possibly.
Okay. Wow.
BYU's finest.
I know, who washed out in Miami after he was a second-round pick.
And Baltimore.
But let's not bash Mr. Beck here. Get back to the Steelers. I guess I'm going back to the wide receivers again. I really want to see Antonio Brown too.
It's an intriguing depth chart with him.
It is, and he's been the star of camp here in early going, and I want to see how he does in the game. And we've seen him before, but it looks like he's really ready to take that next step and take his game to another level this year. So I want to see him, and kind of with Ken, I want to see like kind of the skill players, see the corner stuff where they don't have to be as concerned with scheme, and you can maybe see their talent shine through without them being out there thinking and not really playing that fast.
Who are you watching?
Well, and Baron Batch was going to be the number one guy. It's a shame he went down Wednesday in practice. That's a tragedy. He was the star of camp to this point. But I think in his place now, Jonathan Dwyer, a second-year running back, the spotlight's on him. He's going to get a workload. He and John Clay to step up a little bit. From the Redskins' point of view, they do have a good pass rusher in Brian Arakpo. So I don't know how long you'll see the first-teamers in there, but Jonathan Scott versus Arakpo could be a good one. And then on the defensive side, like Scott, the corners, Keenan Lewis, another big moment for Keenan Lewis in his career.
Ken Laird, Ken_Laird on Twitter. You can follow him, and of course you can listen to him at sportstalk.triblive.com. It's Trib Live Radio. The best sports in Pittsburgh is on the web. And Scott Brown, _Trib. You can follow him, and Scott will be, of course, covering that game extensively. So you want to make sure you check him out in the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review.
We don't get to make a prediction.
Well, if you go ahead.
It's clever language.
I thought we usually keep those for regular season, but go ahead.
Can you go first? I got to think about it.
Oh, look at you bring it up. And
3, Sean Sweeten with 2 field goals. Steelers win.
Beats his old team.
He doesn't do well in FedEx.
That's true.
3-0. Sweeten beats his own team. Old team.
They're going on the under here. All right, Ken Laird, Scott Brown, I'm Justin LeBar. Keep it right here, triblive.com for all of your Steelers coverage.